Here's an interesting setup we talked about in the webinar. 1 hour euro has been making this large downtrend, and now we come to this area where it hits a 1272 of this U-turn, and actually 1.618 of this U-turn, and then a 127 of this larger U-turn, and then we make a two-step correction of A, B, C, D on this 1 hour chart, and the whole time CCI has been below 100 below 0, and here we actually, at this white line, we trigger a 50-14 on the 1 hour chart, and this white line is on all the lower time frame charts I'm going to show. So let's go to the 15-minute chart. The 15-minute has this same A, B, C, D, which turns out to be a corrective rally in the context of that larger downtrend we saw on the 1 hour. A, B, C, D. A to B makes a rally, and then it resumes the decline, but the decline terminates at the 7A6. So right there we know that a two-step is developing, and the two-step terminates at point D, which is the 1618 of this decline from B to C. So this turns out to be a corrective rally in the context of a downtrend. And here's the trigger. We don't see any good triggers until this point. Here we see a 50-34 on the 15-minute chart corresponding to this point. Prior to that point, we see a lot of sideways movement, and the 15-minute chart keeps us out of trouble until price goes below the 34 EMA. If you look at the 5-minute chart, you see that there's a lot of sideways action going, and you do get some triggers, but they're 50 CCI, they're zero line based triggers, and just it sort of meanders. And this is where multiple time frame triggers is so nice, because this white line is the same white line that we saw on the other larger time frame charts. This is where the 1 hour and 15-minute set up for a trigger, and on the 5-minute it shows up as a zero line reject. So that's a multiple time frame trigger of the same A, B, C, D. And when you take that entire corrective rally and took the 1618 retracement, that's where it ended up hitting target. 3-minute chart is kind of interesting. Somebody in the webinar pointed out that there was a bullish ABCD going on. This is the large ABCD that we saw on the larger time frame, but if you look at this segment on the 3-minute chart, that's an uptrend. This is a 3-minute uptrend, and in the context of that uptrend, this smaller ABCD is a two-step corrective decline in the context of the uptrend. From A it declines to B, and it tries to rally again, but it terminates at 7A6 of this A to B point, retracing this C. And then from this 618 it continues to hit two-step support, and you see that there was a reaction here at point D. It tries to go up, tries to continue the uptrend, but since there was that larger time frame two-step working the opposite way, showing a lot of indecision actually, we get a little reaction here, but it could only make it to the 618 of this larger A to D decline, which with the target being 1.27 over here if the uptrend was to resume. But the uptrend hits a wall at the 618 and begins to drop. And all through this time, because there was conflicting two steps, there's a lot of sideways action, and CCI on the larger time frame kept us out of this chop, because although the 3-minute did trigger a bunch of different short and long triggers, we really didn't get the lineup of multiple time frame until this point here, with the 3-minute showing a zero line reject. So that's the power of the multiple time frame triggering here, and then once you triggered in here, since this is a multiple time frame trigger, you go back to the 15-minute chart, because really this is a 15-minute trigger of 5034, and the whole time once it triggered, it goes below the negative 100 line, and throughout that whole time, if you look up here, price is dropping, and you really don't have to get out until you lose the negative 100 line somewhere over here. And if you look at this decline down and you look at the 15-minute negative 100 line, you really don't have any reason to get out of the trade. You got in here it goes against you a little bit, but if you take a support, if you take a symmetry resistance from there to there, and you put symmetry over here, you see that the rhythm of the downtrend was never violated. Same thing over here. This symmetry resistance was not violated, and CCI is below 100 at this point. And then from here you see that from this point to that point, retracing 786, price breaks that 786, telling us that this is the target, and indeed it does make it to this 1.272 target. And it was at that point that CCI showed positive divergence and breaking the negative 100, breaking above, and that's where you get out of the trade. The other thing you could use was the 38.2. In a strong downtrend, the 382 generally holds. So from here to here, from this high to this low, 38% held right there, telling you that you had no reason to get out, even though the lower time frame may have scared you out. See, the thing about the lower time frames is you use those in conjunction with the higher time frames to get multiple simultaneous triggers. While the lower time frames are going to whipsaw up and down, but the 15-minute never told you to get out. See, it's not a multiple time frame exit, because it doesn't say exit here. You use the 3 and 5 minute as multiple time frame because the 15-minute was lining up for this 5034. Now you have no reason to get out as long as your 15-minute is telling you to stay in. And this symmetry resistance holding, and this 38% is holding, and then same thing down here. When you came down to here, symmetry resistance held here, held here, and 38% held here. And even though the 5 minute and 3 minute was very whipsawy in terms of the CCI, down here, see, CCI lost the negative 100 line somewhere around here, while the 15-minute was still going strong. So you had no reason to you had no simultaneous exits. That's basically the whole thing. You had simultaneous entries, but the 15-minute was telling you to stay in, and the 15-minute rules, because it was a 15-minute entry. Basically, it was a 15-minute trigger in reality. The 3 and 5 only helped you to get a head start, to get you some idea of what was coming. But really, it's the 15-minute that's telling you what to do. And then also on the 15, you want to look at the levels, the sim resistance and the 38.2% resistance. Alright.